The cold silence of deep space shattered with a sudden burst of static, then a repeating sequence of pulses, a distress signal. It wasn't just any transmission. This one was ancient, encoded in a pattern that hinted at desperation and hope. The beacon had lain dormant for centuries, its last message lost to time, but now it was awake, screaming into the void. Across the galaxy, the great powers intercepted it. The Syndicate lords paused their trades, the Draxian hegemony's warships quieted their patrols, and the Silent Hive ceased their endless expansion. The signal was clear, a plea for help. Yet every one of these vast empires chose silence, weighed down by fear, old grudges, or indifference. The consensus was simple: ignore it, avoid a fight that didn't concern them. But Earth was different. In the cramped command deck of the human fleet flagship Dauntless, Captain Lena Reyes leaned forward, eyes fixed on the glowing console that displayed the alien transmission. Around her, officers murmured in disbelief. "This can't be real," her communications officer whispered. "It's from beyond the veil, beyond known space." Lena's jaw tightened. The veil was the edge of explored space, a boundary marked by mystery and danger. No one had dared cross it for decades, not since the last failed expedition vanished without a trace. But here was a signal, coming from that forbidding darkness, and humanity was listening. "We don't have the luxury of ignoring this," Lena said firmly. "If they're alive and calling for help, we answer. That's what makes us human." The room fell silent. The command decision was made. Humanity had grown under fire, through wars and hardship on Earth, and carried a relentless spirit. They didn't wait for permission or alliances. If there was a fight to be fought, they would fight it. The Dauntless and its fleet of ragtag but fiercely dedicated ships prepared to jump into the unknown. The stars outside the viewport stretched and warped as the jump drives powered up, propelling the fleet into the darkness beyond the veil. The human ships emerged into an uncharted system, a bleak cluster of shattered moons and dying stars. An eerie quiet hung over the place. The distress signal source blinked on the scanners, a planet scarred by war, its surface pocked with crater-like ruins and smoke plumes. Suddenly, an unknown ship appeared on the horizon. Sleek but battered, its design unlike anything humans had catalogued. The alien vessel hailed the Dauntless with a message in broken galactic standard. "Why have you come? We did not expect help." The humans responded with their own signal, a simple phrase repeated in countless languages: "Back home, we answer the call." What followed was a tense meeting between Captain Reyes and the alien leaders, the Vashari, a proud but fractured species on the brink of collapse. The Vashari's eyes held centuries of pain and loss, their culture once thriving but now hollowed out by constant fear. They spoke of the Varkans, an unstoppable war machine sweeping through star systems, leaving no survivors. The Vashari had lived in shadows for decades, hoping the Varkans would pass them by. But the distress signal was a last, desperate cry for aid. As the humans listened, the depth of the threat became clear. The Varkans didn't just conquer, they hunted those who tried to help their victims, hunting down fleets and annihilating entire worlds without mercy. The galaxy had turned a blind eye, but now humans were in their sights. Back on the Dauntless, Lena stared out into the dark sky, a fierce resolve burning in her eyes. "We didn't come this far to turn away," she murmured. "If the galaxy won't stand, then we will." The first steps had been taken. The human fleet wasn't just answering a distress signal. They were lighting a beacon of defiance against a darkness that threatened all life. The Dauntless slipped through the dense asteroid field surrounding the Vashari homeworld, engines humming low as its pilots danced through the maze of space debris. Captain Lena Reyes stood on the bridge, eyes narrowing at the battered planet looming ahead, its once vibrant blues and greens now muted by scars of endless conflict. The Vashari fleet was waiting in orbit, a ragtag collection of ships that spoke of desperation rather than strength. Their designs were alien, sleek yet battered, some patched hastily with scavenged technology. Still, the humans saw something else in their formation, a flicker of hope. The Vishari weren't ready to surrender. Not yet. Status report, Lena demanded. Life signs are minimal on the surface, but we're picking up faint communication signals, replied Commander Ajay Patel, her second in command. The Vishari are fractured, Captain. Some factions don't want us here. Lena's lips pressed into a thin line. She was used to resistance. Humanity had faced worse on Earth. But alien politics were a different beast entirely. A sudden alert snapped the bridge to attention. A Vishari scout ship approached, sending a tense hail. This is Commander Tisarik of the Vishari Defense. You have arrived unannounced in our system. Explain your purpose, humans. Lena stepped forward, voice steady. We answered your distress call. We're here to help. Let us prove our intentions. There was a long pause, the weight of centuries hanging in the silence. Then Tisarik's voice, sharp and wary. Proof will be costly. Follow us to the surface. But be warned. We do not trust easily. The Dauntless and the Vishari ships descended toward the planet's surface, weaving through toxic storms and fractured landscapes. Below, ruined cities stretched for miles, skeletal remnants of what once was. Smoke spiraled from shattered factories, and the distant rumble of explosions echoed faintly. Touching down on a ruined spaceport, the humans disembarked into a scene that was both alien and hauntingly familiar. Broken buildings towered overhead, their walls scarred by battle. The air was thick with dust and the scent of burnt metal. A group of Vishari leaders awaited, their expressions a mix of suspicion and hope. Among them was Kayla, a warrior with battle-worn armor and eyes that bore the weight of loss. She spoke first. You do not know what you have walked into, Kayla said. The Varkans are not just invaders. They are predators. They destroy everything, and they show no mercy. We have fought, hidden, and survived only by running. Lena listened carefully. Then we fight with you. Hiding is not an option anymore. Kayla's gaze hardened. You are reckless. But perhaps that recklessness is what we need. Over the next days, the humans and Vishari struggled to build trust. Language barriers, cultural differences, and centuries of pain made progress slow. But the humans' determination was contagious. Lena met with Kayla and other leaders in a makeshift war room, maps of star systems, battle plans scrawled on hollow displays. The Vishari explained how the Varkans operated, relentless, unstoppable. Entire fleets had vanished trying to stand against them. Yet despite the odds, the humans began to see cracks in the Varkans' armor. Their tactics were brutal but predictable, their technology superior but not infallible. Commander Patel proposed bold reconnaissance missions, sending human pilots into the thick of Varkan territory to gather intelligence. Their daring run stirred both admiration and fear among the Vishari, but beneath the surface, tension brewed. Some Vishari factions whispered that humanity's arrival might bring worse dangers than the Varkans. Could these aggressive newcomers be allies or harbingers of a new war? One night, Lena stood alone on a ruined balcony staring up at the distant stars. The weight of leadership pressed down on her, but her resolve did not waver. We're here, she whispered to the empty night. No matter what comes next, we won't back down. Suddenly, alarms blared through the base. An urgent message crackled over comms. Unidentified ships detected entering the system. Varkan warships. The Vishari leaders snapped to action, faces pale but fierce. The fight they'd hoped to delay was coming fast. Lena gripped the railing. Prepare the fleet. This is just the beginning. As the sky lit with the approaching shadow of war, humans and Vishari alike braced for a battle that would test every ounce of courage and trust between them. The cold void outside the Dauntless trembled as distant lights flared. Varkan warships, sleek and merciless, cutting through space like blades of death. The fleet's sensors screamed alerts, and the hum of the human and Vishari ships shifted to battle readiness. Captain Lena Reyes stood at the command console, eyes sharp as she studied the incoming enemy formation. The Varkans were unlike anything she'd seen, monstrous in scale and precision, their ships moving with chilling coordination. There was no hesitation, no mercy. "Status?" Lena asked, her voice calm but resolute. 26 warships, reported Commander Ajay Patel. They're closing fast and they're heavily armed. Kayla, the Vashari warrior, appeared beside Lena. Her eyes were dark pools of war-weariness. "This is no ordinary assault," she said grimly. "The Varkans do not merely seek victory, they hunt their enemies." The phrase sent a cold shiver through the bridge. The humans had heard rumors, entire fleets disappearing, systems left in ruin, but hearing it now, facing it, was another matter. "We fight then," Lena said. "But we need to understand what we're dealing with. Tell me everything." Kayla nodded, gathering the bridge crew for a briefing. "The Varkans," she began, "are a predator species unlike any other. They do not conquer for resources or land. They hunt for survival. Their technology is brutal and advanced, but their true weapon is terror. They destroy anyone who dares help their prey." A holomap flickered to life, showing star systems, marked with skull symbols. Varkan kills erased from existence. "We've lived in the shadows for decades," Kayla continued, "using guerrilla tactics, hiding our fleets in asteroid fields and nebulae. We hope to survive long enough for help to come. And now we have you," Lena said. "You think we can change the game?" Kayla's lips tightened. "You are brash and fearless, human. Perhaps that will be enough." As the fleet prepared for the inevitable clash, intelligence reports streamed in from human scouts daring to slip behind Varkan lines. Their findings were grim. Varkan command ships controlled vast drone swarms capable of overwhelming any defense. Their bioengineered soldiers, ferocious and relentless, made boarding actions deadly. One report chilled the bridge crew. The Varkans had developed a terrifying method of hunting survivors, tracking their neural signatures across light years, hunting them like game. "We are not just fighting a war," Kayla said quietly. "We are prey." Lena paced the deck, mind racing. The humans had never faced an enemy like this. But giving in to fear was not an option. "We need a plan that uses our strengths," Lena declared. "Human creativity, adaptability, and unpredictability." Patel nodded. "Our ships may not be as advanced, but our pilots are fearless. We can strike fast and hard, disrupt their formations." Kayla gave a rare, grim smile. "Then let us fight. Today, tomorrow, until the Varkans know fear." The battle began with a roar. Human and Vashari ships darted through the void, weaving tight formations. Varkan warships unleashed torrents of energy, turning space into a deadly storm of fire and metal. In the heart of the chaos, Lena's flagship led a daring assault, breaking through the Varkan lines to target their command vessel. The Dauntless shuddered under heavy fire, but the human pilots fought with reckless courage, evading death at every turn. Meanwhile, reconnaissance teams uncovered an unexpected truth, a weakness in the Varkan command network, a fragile link in their drone control system that, if exploited, could cripple their coordination. Lena seized on the opportunity. "We'll hit them where it hurts," she ordered. "Prepare the strike teams for a covert mission." As the battle raged on, tension simmered beneath the surface. Not all among the Vashari trusted the humans. Whispers of doubt and fear rippled through their ranks. Could humanity's brash intervention bring ruin to them all? Amid the storm, a chilling realization dawned on Lena. Their arrival had already painted a target on their backs. The Varkans were hunting them now. Back on the Dauntless, Lena stared at the stars, shadows of doubt creeping into her mind. But deep inside, a flame of defiance burned brighter than ever. "We answer the call," she whispered, "no matter what the darkness hides." The shadows of the Varkans loomed large, but the human spirit refused to bow. The Dauntless and its escort ships slipped silently through the Varkan-controlled nebula, a swirling mass of ionized gas that shimmered in eerie colors. This was no ordinary battlefront. It was a graveyard where countless fleets had vanished without a trace. But human ingenuity and daring would write a different story. Captain Lena Reyes stood in the briefing room, the hollow map flickering with Enemy positions. The Varkans expect us to fight them head-on. That's a mistake. We hit them in the shadows where they don't see us coming. Commander Ajay Patel leaned forward. We've identified a weak point, a relay station controlling their drone swarms. Disable it and their assault coordination will collapse. The plan was risky, sending a small strike team deep into hostile territory, relying on stealth and speed rather than overwhelming firepower. It was the kind of mission that had claimed the lives of many, but the cost of failure was far worse. Lieutenant Maya Chen, the young pilot handpicked to lead the raid, clenched her fists as she studied the target data. Her squad was a mix of seasoned veterans and fresh-faced rookies, bound by a fierce determination to survive and succeed. Remember, Lena said, her voice calm but fierce. This isn't just a fight for survival. It's a fight for hope. The strike team's ship slipped through the nebula's glowing mists. Engines muted to avoid detection. The vastness of space pressed in, a silent threat waiting to engulf them. Suddenly, the sensors flared. Movement ahead. A Varkan patrol ship, massive and bristling with weapons, cut across their path. "Contact!" Maya shouted, twisting her ship into evasive maneuvers. Laser fire streaked through space, illuminating the dark nebula in deadly bursts. The humans dodged and weaved, relying on agility and split-second decisions. The rookie's hands shook, but Maya's steady voice guided them through the chaos. "We don't engage directly," she barked. "Break their line and get to the relay station. We're ghosts." After a harrowing chase, the patrol ship faltered, unable to keep pace with the strike team's hit-and-run tactics. The relay station loomed ahead, a fortress of steel and energy, fields orbiting a jagged asteroid. The strike craft slipped through the station's outer defenses, lasers sizzling past them. Inside, the team deployed boarding pods, hurtling into the enemy's stronghold like fire into ice. The airlock hissed, open, revealing cold metallic corridors bathed in harsh fluorescent light. The humans moved swiftly, weapons ready, their footsteps echoing in the eerie silence. They encountered resistance. Varkan soldiers, towering and vicious, their bio-engineered armor glinting under the harsh lights. The battle inside the station was brutal in close quarters. Maya's squad fought with everything they had, each victory hard-won. But then came the trap. An explosion rocked the station, sending shockwaves through the corridors. The humans realized too late. The Varkans had anticipated their move. The boarding pods' return paths were sealed off and reinforcements poured in. Maya's squad was pinned down, fighting for every inch. Communications crackled with warnings. From the Dauntless. Extraction delayed. Hold your ground. Desperation pushed the humans beyond their limits. Maya led a fierce counterattack, using makeshift tactics and the station's labyrinthine layout to their advantage. Just when hope seemed lost, a sudden surge of power surged through the station systems, courtesy of a hacking team back on. The Dauntless disrupting the enemy's control networks. The energy fields flickered and died, opening a path for extraction pods. "Move out, now," Maya shouted. With a final push, the team fought through the corridors and boarded the pods, escaping just as the station began to collapse in a cascade of explosions. Back on the Dauntless, the strike team returned battered but alive. Their success crippled the Varkan's drone control, at least for now, but the cost was clear. Several brave souls did not make it back. Lena met Maya on the deck, the young pilot's face streaked with soot and exhaustion. "You did good," Lena said quietly. "You all did." Maya nodded, eyes hardening. "We've just made them angrier." Kayla approached, her expression somber. "Your tactics are reckless, but effective. You remind us why we must fight, not hide." Lena looked out the viewport, to the dark expanse beyond. The war was far from over, but for the first time they had a foothold, a spark in the endless night. "We fight with fire and ice," Lena said. "We burn bright where they expect cold, and we never back down." The Varkans were dangerous, relentless, and cunning, but so were humans, and that made all the difference. The uneasy alliance between humans and Vishari was fraying fast. In the shadowed corridors of the Vishari warship Shadowspire, whispers carried darker weight than any blaster bolt. Kyla, the battle-worn warrior, paced with restless fury. The arrival of the humans had shifted the fragile balance of power, and not everyone welcomed the change. "Your reckless humans risk everything," a low voice hissed from the gloom. Kayla turned sharply. "Speak, Tivoran. What poison do you spread?" The slender Vishari counselor stepped forward, eyes cold and calculating. "They are not saviors, Kayla. They bring death and chaos. The Varkans will see them as prey, and all of us will burn with them." Kayla's jaw clenched. "We stand on the edge of extinction. Do you propose we do nothing?" Tivoran's lip curled. "We must protect our people, not gamble with outsiders whose motives are unknown." The divide was no longer hidden. Among the Vishari, factions were forming. Some embraced the humans' fierce hope. Others saw them as dangerous liabilities, pawns in a game they didn't understand. Meanwhile, aboard the human flagship Dauntless, Captain Lena Reyes sensed the growing tension. Reports from the field hinted at sudden skirmishes between Vishari, factions, sabotage, and even sabotage targeted at human supply lines. "Someone wants to see us fail," Lena muttered, studying intercepted communications rife with coded threats and veiled accusations. Her trusted officer, Commander Ajay Patel, frowned. Internal dissent could be worse than the Varkans themselves. "We can't fight a war on two fronts." One night, as the Dauntless drifted near a shattered moon, Lena received a cryptic message from an unknown source. "The true enemy walks among you. Trust no one." Her pulse quickened. Was this a trap or a warning? Determined to uncover the truth, Lena convened a secret meeting with Kayla and a select group of allies. "We need to root out the traitors," Lena said, voice low. "If we fracture now, the Varkans will finish us all." Kayla's eyes burned, with bitter resolve. "I will not let my people be torn apart from within." Their investigation uncovered disturbing evidence. Vishari sabotage had delayed critical repairs on human ships, and false intelligence had led patrols into deadly ambushes. Worse still, they discovered a covert faction working secretly with the Varkans, Vishari who saw the invaders as a means to regain power by betraying their own. Lena's anger flared. "These traitors are more dangerous than any enemy fleet. They kill from the shadows." The hunt for the conspirators turned the alliance into a powder keg. Trust was fragile, and every whispered conversation could be a trap. One night, the traitors struck. An explosion rocked the Dauntless's engineering bay, crippling power to vital systems. The ship shuddered violently, alarms blaring as fires broke out. Lena rushed to the scene, finding chaos, flames licking at fuel lines, crew fighting to contain the damage. "Sabotage," a firefighter gasped. "It was deliberate." The attack was a clear message. The alliance was under siege from within. As emergency crews fought the blaze, Lena stood with Kayla and Patel in the command center, grim faces illuminated by flashing red lights. "We cannot let fear tear us apart," Lena said fiercely. "We fight the Varkans and those who aid them, no matter the cost." But even as they made plans to tighten security and purge traitors, the seeds of doubt had been planted deep. The Vishari were fractured, the humans outsiders in a war they barely understood, and the Varkans were coming. The shadow of betrayal loomed larger than ever, threatening to consume the fragile hope of survival. The Dauntless floated like a wounded beast in the silence of space, its scars from the sabotage still raw. The crew worked tirelessly to repair critical systems, but beneath the surface, unease settled like a thick fog. Captain Lena Reyes refused to be cowed. "We can't afford to hide or hesitate," she told her officers. "The Varkans won't wait for us to be ready. We strike back, hard and fast." Her plan was audacious. A small task force would infiltrate the Varkan homeworld, the core of their war machine. If they could disrupt their command network at its heart, it might turn the tide of the war. Kayla stood by Lena's side, the weight of her people heavy on her shoulders. "This is no simple raid," Kayla warned. "We enter their lair, where they are strongest and most ruthless." Lena met her gaze. "Then we bring the fight to them." The task force was a blend of humans and Vishari, a team forged in fire and trust. Lieutenant Maya Chen, still marked by the recent relay station assault, would lead the strike, with Kayla as her guide through the labyrinthine Varkan systems. Their ship slipped through the dead zone surrounding the Varkan homeworld, a region cloaked in electromagnetic storms and asteroid belts, a natural fortress no one dared breach. Sensors went haywire as they entered the system. "We're being jammed," Maya reported. "They're ready for us." The task force held formation, pushing forward despite the chaos. Suddenly, a hail came through, a cold, chilling voice dripping with contempt. "You are fools to come here," it sneered. "The Varkans are the hunters. You are the prey." Lena's fingers tightened on the console. "We're not afraid of the dark." As they approached the planet, the task force split. Some ships would engage the perimeter defenses, drawing fire, while the strike team would slip through surface-level fortifications. Kayla's knowledge of Varkan patterns proved invaluable. "They rely on overwhelming force," she said, "but their command is centralized. Hit it and their armies falter." Descending through thick layers of toxic atmosphere, the strike crafts dodged flak and missile barrages. The planet's surface was a hellscape, smoldering ruins, twisted metal, and the echoes of devastation. Inside the command center, an enormous fortress carved from black obsidian and armored steel, the team breached defenses and fought through, relentless bioengineered guards. The Varkans moved with terrifying precision, hunting predators who knew no mercy. Amid the chaos, Maya reached the core control chamber, a pulsating heart of machinery and alien technology. The room hummed with raw power, a nerve center directing countless drones and warships. Maya's hands danced over the interface, deploying viruses and disabling key nodes. The fortress began to shake as systems faltered, but the Varkans would not yield without a fight. A monstrous Varkan commander emerged, a towering figure bristling with weapons and scars. Its voice was a guttural roar of rage. "You defy us," it bellowed, lunging into battle. Maya and Kayla fought side by side, combining human tactics and Vashari ferocity. The battle was brutal, every strike a desperate bid for survival. When the commander fell, the fortress began to collapse. The task force scrambled to escape as the ground ruptured and firestorms raged. Back aboard the Dauntless, Lena watched the systems flicker. Reports confirmed the strike team's success. The Varkan network was crippled, their control over drones, and fleets shattered. But the victory was bittersweet. The sabotage within their ranks had delayed the mission, costing lives and nearly dooming the operation. And now the Varkans would retaliate with a fury unlike anything seen before. Kayla's voice was grim as she met Lena in the command deck. "We have struck the heart, but the beast is wounded and dangerous," Lena nodded. "Then we prepare for the storm." Outside the viewport, stars glittered cold and indifferent. The war was far from over, but the spark of hope, born from fire, betrayal, and relentless courage, still burned bright. "We will not go quietly into the night," Lena whispered, "and we will fight until the last star falls." The silence of space shattered like glass as the Varkan fleet surged through the system. A tidal wave of destruction, unleashed in retaliation for the human Vashari strike on their command center. Dozens of warships, monstrous and menacing, carved starpaths with blazing ion trails, their weapons primed to annihilate everything in their wake. Captain Lena Reyes stood on the bridge of the Dauntless, her jaw tight, eyes scanning the sensor feeds. The fleet was vastly outnumbered, but she knew retreat was not an option. This was their moment to prove that humanity's fearless spirit could outmatch even the deadliest foes. "Battle stations," she ordered. "All ships prepare to engage. Hold the line, no matter the cost." Commander Ajay Patel's fingers danced over the tactical console. Varkan fleet formation is aggressive but predictable. They're hunting for a decisive blow. Kayla's voice cut through the tension, sharp and resolute. "Then we deny it. We fight not for glory, but for survival." The Dauntless led the combined fleet, weaving through a barrage of plasma fire and missile salvos. Human pilots, aided by Vashari fighters, executed daring maneuvers, striking enemy ships and retreating before the Varkans could counterattack. In the chaos, Lena coordinated a bold gambit, A concentrated strike on the Varkan flagship, the colossal Dreadmaw, rumored to house the enemy's supreme commander. "Target the Dreadmaw," Lena commanded. "We take out their leader, the rest will falter." Lieutenant Maya Chen, battle-hardened and fierce, led the assault squadron toward the massive warship. Their fighters zipped through enemy fire like shadows, evading destruction with sharp instinct and relentless determination. The Dreadmaw's weapons blazed in fury, but Maya's squad pushed through the storm, delivering devastating hits to critical systems. Inside the flagship, chaos reigned. Varkan soldiers scrambled to repel boarding parties, bioengineered horrors clashing with human and Vashari warriors in brutal hand-to-hand combat. Kayla fought with lethal precision, cutting through enemy ranks to reach the command deck. There she confronted the Varkan Supreme Commander, a monstrous being, a living weapon of war, his eyes burning with hatred and primal fury. "You dare challenge me?" he roared. Kyla's voice was cold steel. "We are the reckoning you feared." There, battle shook the command deck, every strike echoing like thunder. Kyla's Vashari strength met the commander's raw power in a deadly dance. Around them, the ship trembled under the assault from outside. On the bridge of the Dauntless, Lena monitored the fight, her heart pounding. The fate of the fleet, and perhaps the galaxy, rested on this battle. Suddenly, the Varkan commander faltered, wounded but not defeated. He unleashed a devastating energy blast, forcing Kyla back. Maya's squadron broke through the flagship's defenses, flooding the corridors with reinforcements. The tide turned. With a final, furious strike, Kayla drove her blade into the commander's chest. His roar turned to a gurgle, then silence. The Dreadmaw shuddered, systems failing as the flagship began to collapse. Lena ordered a full retreat as the enemy fleet faltered, their command structure shattered. The combined human Vashari fleet surged forward, pressing their advantage. But the victory came at a cost. Many ships lay in ruins, crews lost or wounded. The Dauntless bore fresh scars, and the weight of survival pressed heavily on Lena's shoulders. In the aftermath, Kayla stood beside Lena on the Dauntless's observation deck, gazing at the stars. "We have won a battle," Kayla said quietly. "But the war is far from over." Lena nodded. "The Varkans will return, stronger, angrier. But so will we," Kayla replied. Together. The alliance forged in fire had survived its greatest test. But the road ahead was long and uncertain. As the fleet regrouped, Lena knew one truth above all. Humanity had answered the call not just with weapons but with unbreakable spirit. And in the darkest corners of the galaxy, that light would never fade. The cold emptiness of space slowly softened as the battered fleet limped away from the shattered battlefield. The wounds of war were fresh, the silence punctuated only by the hum of damaged engines and the distant cries of the lost. But amid the scars and sorrow, a fragile hope blossomed. Captain Lena Reyes stood at the Dauntless's observation deck, her eyes tracing the brilliant canvas of stars beyond the viewport. Each light was a world, a beacon of possibility. The nightmare of the Varkans had been met with human tenacity and Vashari resilience, and together they had survived. Kayla approached quietly, the weight of the past weeks etched on her face but with something softer in her eyes, something like gratitude. "We answered the distress call," Lena said softly. "But it was more than just a signal. It was a summons for courage, unity, and a future." Kayla nodded. "Your people have changed the course of this war, not just with your weapons but with your spirit. It has given my people hope where there was none." Lena smiled faintly. "It's more than hope. It's a promise. We'll rebuild. We'll stand stronger. Together." Down in the corridors, the crew worked tirelessly to repair the ships, tend to the wounded and honor the fallen. Among the ranks, camaraderie blossomed between humans and Vashari. Once strangers, now comrades forged in the crucible of survival. Lieutenant Maya Chen sat quietly, her face still marked by the dust and grime of battle. The memories of fire and loss weighed heavily, but so did the fierce pride in what they had accomplished. "Do you think it's really over?" she asked a fellow pilot, her voice barely above a whisper. The pilot shrugged. "No war ever truly ends. But it's the dawn that matters, the chance to choose peace instead of destruction." Outside, a transmission crackled to life, the first from Allied fleets across the galaxy. Systems once isolated and broken were rallying, inspired by the bravery of the humans and Vashari who dared to stand against the darkness. Lena tapped the comm console, her voice carrying steady and clear across the vast reaches of space. "All who hear this message, the Varkans sought to extinguish us, to make us prey in the void. But we answered the call, not with fear, but with fire. Together, we have struck a blow that will echo through the stars. We will rebuild, we will protect, and we will thrive. For this is not the end. It is a new dawn." As her words faded into the void, Lena and Kayla stood side by side, watching the distant horizon where starships began to emerge, shining with new purpose. The galaxy was wide and filled with shadows, but the light of humanity's courage had lit a beacon that no darkness could snuff out. Together, they had answered the distress signal, and in doing so, had changed the fate of countless worlds. The future was uncertain. The road would be long. But one truth remained unshaken. Humanity had arrived, and they were here to stay.